Boom. Darryll
Boom.
Stinson in the house. Let's go, man. Looking fresh, dude.
Oh man, appreciate it. I'm trying to be like you one day. I don't got the hat. I got to get the hat.
I'm working on my game. Actually, you know what? You know who gave me this hat? Our
Who?
charity sponsor for Impact Effect 24.
Talk about it.
Um, Brad Michel with
Yep.
Jacob's Audible.
Okay.
Um, our relationship has developed significantly. He's grinding, he's building, right? I'm building, we're making it happen.
Right.
And why not? We were just got off the phone actually before this, and I said, why not rise together in this and continue to help each other, right? Like, why not create a partnership? And
Wow.
and there was just so much alignment in that, and I'm
Mm.
just excited, man. I'm excited. 1 in 34 kids are autistic, and
Mm.
he's focusing locally on autism here in Nashville.
Wow.
So this is a big cause, and
Mm.
someone asked me the other day, "Oh, do you have autistic kids, or is it?" And I haven't experienced it, but
Right.
I know based on what Brad's work does and what comes out of that,
Right.
and I hear it and see it. So I am passionate about it, man. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Brad's excited. We're excited to have him, and hopefully we can raise a little bit of money for him that day.
Hopefully, man. It sounds like a really good cause, man. And I used to actually mentor, children that were on the spectrum of autism or even those that had like delinquency issues that were attached to certain mental illnesses. And that was a whole 4 or 5 years of my early professional career. And, I
Wow.
don't do as much of it anymore because I got four of my own kids. But man, it's near and dear to my heart. So man, I can't wait to meet them at the conference and learn more.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
Cool. I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, man, thanks for jumping on today. I appreciate it. It's always just such a pleasure to chat with you. And
Yeah,
you're making massive moves. You're
yeah,
making so much impact. You're
yeah,
growing rapidly. Your business is on fire. You're writing
yeah.
books.
Yep,
You're popping around. I'm seeing you with all
yep,
different types of folks. Like, you're
yep.
busy, man.
We out here.
So thank you for being here today, and just to talk
Yep.
around leadership, and
Yeah. Dude,
and
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped, and I think it's because we're a little bit behind, and I'm just amped up. But one of the things that you just reminded me of when you were saying, kind of where my business is I remember talking to you a year ago. I think it might have been
yeah,
longer, but about a year ago, telling you I was afraid to step into this season of business. Do you remember that?
I do. I do.
Dude, and if we're talking about leadership, decisions like that, accountability like that, honesty to be like, hey, this is what's actually in the way of my next level of success or progress. This is what actually is in the way because high level leaders can be some of the most sophisticated liars on the planet. We can lie to our company, we can lie to our employees, we can lie to ourselves and believe our own lies just because we don't want to face something that we're looking to avoid facing, whether that's an insecurity, a perpetual habit that's hard to break, a belief in itself, something to go for. In this case that we're referring to, there was a time last year where I was like, man, I've got people in my network who I'm not reaching out to. I know that they would be happy for me to reach out to them to speak on their stages and to serve their, communities. But there's something about me that I just don't like being the guy that reaches out and da da da. And it's like, but I coach people to get their messages out there to the world. And there's a level of that I'm not doing. And my clients can't necessarily call me out on it because I'm on bigger stages and, you know, can coach and have better delivery than a lot of them. And so it's like, they can't really call me out as much. But there is a standard of like, yo, we see you. We know what you're capable of. We hear you talk about these networks you're in. Why aren't you reaching out to those folks? And it's like, oh, okay, you're right. And so Jim was my guy last year where we said, hey, man, I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to see what it's like. I'm scared. I don't know if I can handle the growth. I don't know if that's going to change my identity to be in a different level of influence
Yep.
and a level of accountability to how I show up in the world. But I'm going to do it afraid. Somebody should type in the chat, do it afraid. And
Do
the
it afraid.
more that we do it afraid, bro, the more that we have honest conversations like you and I had a year ago, the more that we show up in rooms like that's going to be at Impact Conference and don't just show up and be like, oh, I'm just going to look and observe and rate all the speakers. If we actually show up and say, no, I'm going to lean in, I'm going to get the nuggets that are from each of these individuals. I'm going to play full out. I'm not just going to assess what I know. I'm going to look at to how I'm actually implementing what I know into my life. Like that's the lens that I'm going to view the information that I'm receiving through. If people can do that, I believe that they will have one of the most transformative experiences of their life. But they have to show up ready to play that game. And I love that the people that you're bringing to the conference are those people.
They're fired
Are
up.
those
Yeah,
people?
they're fired
Are
up.
those people? Yeah.
It's you said play all out, man. That's such a, that's such a great reminder
Yeah.
in anything we do, right? Like play all out at
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
play all out at home,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of you as you're kicking it off, man. Darryll Stinson's kicking it off at Impact Effect 24. And I mean, I was thinking, I'm like, who do we have last year kick it off? Tim Story kicked it off last year. Yeah,
Ooh, look at the goal! I
yeah.
love Tim. Hey, matter of
I'm like,
fact,
yeah, yeah. He kicked it off last
that
year.
was powerful. Remember one thing that he said at that conference last year? He said because it was at what was the? Do you remember the date of last year's conference? It was like the 20. It's like the end of the month. It
28th.
was like 28th, and it was like 2 or 3 days left in the month. And he said it's there's still enough time available for you to have the largest month that you ever had.
Yep.
Wow.
Talk about playing all
Wow.
out. Talk about playing all
Wow.
out.
So there's still enough time in August. You get where I'm going?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For you to have the largest month. Now, here's the part of the story that you or Tim maybe not have heard. That wasn't my largest month in business. I'm not going to tell you a lie. I want to so bad as a storyteller. But the reality
And
is
guess what
this
I did?
is I did hear it. It was received. I went, you know what? I am not showing up on at that time, September 28th or whatever that like I'm not showing up on August 28th as if I believe I can have my largest month ever in these 3 days or
Yep.
2 days or however many days is left. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
And it was a gut check. And I was like, why not? If I'm not showing up with that level of belief, what level of belief am I showing up with? Because what's wrong with even believing that?
In order to believe in the future, you've got to believe in yourself today, right? I mean,
Ooh, there you go, Jim. Look at you.
if we're gonna make positive change, right? If we're gonna do it,
Yeah.
it's got to start inward, right? And I mean, I think that's what last year Tim really hit home to me was everything's a miracle around you,
Yep.
and you've got to have the right inside to lean out and shine outside. And it
You
was,
do.
and in that moment, it's like, hey, I could look at the 28th and only 3 days left of August,
Mhm.
or I could look at, yo, I got 3 days left of August. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like,
Yes. Yes.
and that
Yes.
switch, magic
Yes.
can happen, a miracle can occur, you
Magic.
know?
Magic.
So
So
I'm
if I were
fired up.
so here's an example of how somebody can transfer this into growth in their life. So if they were there at the conference and they heard this. I mean, is it tweetable? Yes. Is it the most profound statement? Not necessarily. But is that what we're if we gut check right now and we go, okay, if I believe that I could have my largest that this 3 days could be I could impact more people, make more revenue than I have historically in any month in my business. If that were possible, what would I need to do to make it be true? Okay, let me just play the game. Well, maybe I might do this, I might do this, I might do this. And next thing you know, we're in an ideation process that might not produce the largest month. It didn't for me, but it produced a better month than what I was getting ready to have.
Yeah.
And it opened up a trajectory that I wasn't on.
I was just gonna say it brought you down a different path.
Different trajectory. And
Yep.
that over time and distance, even just a 1% is big.
Small increments, man. You taught me that. Like, you know, sometimes we don't need to change everything. We just need to tweak a little.
Minor tweaks make major differences.
Boom. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
tweetable.
That is tweetable. Yeah.
That needs to go like
Yeah.
above my laptop or something, man.
Yeah. It does, man. But what I'm trying to get people not to do is for it to be above the laptop and not executed in the calendar.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I just want people to be like, oh, I'm actually going to make the minor tweak.
But
Because
I
what
think
people tend
too,
to do
like,
is they go, oh, it's just a minor tweak. It's like, no, it's actually a major tweak if you are consistent in the minor tweaks.
I was just gonna say it's that
Yeah.
repetition, consistency, discipline model, right? And
Yep.
but dude, what you were saying earlier about the gut check, like, I
Hmm.
was just thinking, I'm like, man, I've got to do that gut check often, right? Like, just looking at it and going, all right, let's look inward for a second. Let's slow
Hmm.
down. Let's stop. Let's reflect. And when I
Yeah.
say that, I don't mean it like, you know, I'm sure everybody does a period of reflection or has their CEO days, right? I talk a lot about that. Like once a
Hmm.
month, it's just working on you as the CEO of the
Yep.
business.
Yep.
But like that gut check of in the moment, you know, one of the biggest things that a mentor taught me, man, 10 years ago, I delivered a proposal project to him and he was the client.
Mm.
And we were he really liked me. I mean, he was a mentor and we didn't work for the same company. He hired my company, right? And
Okay.
that was one of 40 properties I oversaw.
Okay.
And I turned in this proposal, this revenue generation forecast, this whole big thing. We're talking about, you know, 2.5 million bucks. So
Hmm.
not 100 million, but not pennies.
All right.
And he before he even looked at it, he gave it back to me.
Hmm.
And he just looked at me and I was like, and he's like, is this the best work you can submit to me? Is
Mm.
this everything
Hmm.
that you can give to me?
Yeah.
And you can look me in the eye right now and tell me that this is
Yep.
the best work and this is I put everything into it. And
Mm.
man, I was like, talk about a gut check, you know?
That's a gut check, bro. That's a gut
Um,
check.
but I think there's power in that. And when you can self-manage that, man, when you can self-regulate that, like before you go submit, is this really the best? Is this really from the heart? Is this really an A+ effort? And to your words and your vernacular, Darryll, am I playing all out?
Am I playing all out? Hmm.
And I just think that gut check moment, man, I think we all need them. I know I need them more and more often than ever.
Yeah, 100%, man. And again, I don't want to give the impression that I'm all out all time and all the time in all areas. That's not the case. There's areas in my life I'm like, I'm not all out in that area. Um, I'm trying my best to not avoid that and pretend like it's not there and lean into those areas while also focusing on the areas where I do have momentum and seeing how I can have greater momentums in that area. So again, I don't want to, because sometimes people are like, oh, okay, they reject where there is for them to grow because they compare themselves to the personality of the teacher or the educator from stage or the podcast. They're like, well, I'm not like them, so that doesn't really apply to me. And it's like, well, the principle applies. You just got to apply it in your own way.
Yeah.
Right. Or if I was being the speaker, I say the principle applies. You just got to apply it, the principle to your personality, and so I think if more people would be like, you know what, I'm not an all out, all in type of person. I'm not like Darryll or Jim or maybe some of the people I see driving these organizations forward massively. But you know what? Like I am this type of being. I do
Yeah.
have this level of drive.
Yeah.
Right. And then holding yourself to that standard versus being like, I'm not that, so I won't do anything. It's a lot of people that's like, I'm not that, so I'll stay here. And it's like, well, what about just coming up to here?
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to use a hierarchy because I don't perceive it that way. Larger doesn't mean more valuable,
True.
but you get my point.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
it's important to I think it's important to just identify and analyze that, right? And like,
Yep.
you know, it's what fits for you, right?
Yep.
Like, Darryl, you could love wearing Nikes because they fit your foot great, and I could love wearing Reebok because it fits my foot great, right? We're buying the same shoe, but we're
Yep.
two different people putting our own unique foot pattern in that, and
Yep.
there's comfortability in that, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's where it's like at Impact Effect 24, speakers are creating a facilitation and experience, right? Like you're creating an experience where people can apply this to them. They have time, they have critical thinking, they have, you know, reflection almost. And it's that's where I think the beauty is made and why it's not going to be just this conference where you rifle in a bunch of speakers, everybody goes for 45 minutes and they're on different topics and then, you know, all right, let's all apply it. See you next year.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
and I think that's the big difference. So I'm
Yeah.
excited, man. I'm excited to have you, and excited to keep rocking and rolling, brother. I appreciate you jumping on today. Appreciate you
Yeah.
taking some time out of your day and pouring into the folks at Impact Effect 24. Anything you want to leave? Anybody who's thinking about joining Impact Effect 24 next month, maybe, or on the fence, or you know, maybe they didn't get that contract and you know, this is a little bit of a risk and investment in themselves, right? We've all been there where we're a little any words to share?
Never never underestimate the power of what happens when you get together with the right people. You know, I think about every significant moment in history. I think about every great victory, every great champion was a team win, and it happened because there was multiple individual, whether that be two or more, that got together and said, you know what, we can do something about the problems that we see in the world. We can do something about this idea that we have in our minds. And I believe that this conference gives people the opportunity to do that. It's about impact. And we've got speakers who have different levels of expertise in different niches, but all around the common theme of impact.
Yeah.
And so every speaker is going to go deeper and deeper in more and turn the camera at a different angle, turn the diamond from a different angle in order to help the world grow deeper in their impact. So whatever that means for you, whether that's personally in your life, in your marriage, in your relationships, or that's in your business, in your company that you work for, that you run, you want to be in a room and bring your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole self to the conference to be able to leave totally different than what you came. So bring a friend, and I'm excited to serve whoever's there.
Boom. Mic
Yep.
drop moment right there. I can't say anything after that. Come on.
I love you, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
jumping on, man, and
Yeah.
we'll chat soon.
All right. Chat soon. Yeah. Peace.